So Stephen Colbert just caught red-handed trying to rig a Texas Senate primary on national television. Shocker. The liberal late-night host attempted to give a one Democrat candidate millions of dollars in free publicity while completely shutting out his opponent. But when CBS lawyers stepped in to stop the blatant election interference, Colbert had a public meltdown that exposed the entire scheme. So this isn't just about one comedian's political preferences. This is about how the entertainment industry weaponizes television to pick winners and losers in our elections. Colbert tried to boost James Talarico with a primetime interview while leaving Jasmine Crockett completely in the cold. And that's not entertainment. That's election manipulation. And when his own network's lawyers told me he couldn't break federal equal time laws, Colbert publicly attacked his parent company like a spoiled child who didn't get his way. And the most disturbing part, Talarico's campaign raised over $2 million in 24 hours from this manufactured controversy. And that's the power of this crazy media manipulation in action, guys. So speaking of things breaking quietly while the media focuses elsewhere, breaking news is breaking quietly, and most people completely missed it. While headlines focus on Colbert's television tantrum, the Trump administration just released a document that could fundamentally reshape America's mining sector. And this is real, and it's unfolding right now under Executive Order 14241. This goes far beyond typical policy changes. We're talking about a complete transformation of how America approaches critical mineral independence. The implications for copper mining specifically are massive. Vizsla Copper has been positioning for exactly this moment. Their projects in Mexico's historic mining districts aren't just business ventures, they're strategic plays in most America's resource independence revolution. While mainstream media obsesses over late-night comedy drama, smart investors are paying attention to the real news that actually impacts your financial future. The mining renaissance is happening now. And that's the kind of story that actually matters for your portfolio, unlike Hollywood's political theater. But here's the twist that nobody's talking about. Why would Democrats want to sabotage Jasmine Crockett's Senate run? It's not like she's crazy, right? She's exactly the kind of candidate the left usually promotes. She's crazy. She's a far less communist. She's insane. Unless there's something about her campaign that makes the establishment nervous. Maybe she's not controllable enough for their taste. Or maybe Talarico promised them something Crockett wouldn't deliver. Let's see what the ex-posts have to say. I'll try to speak a little bit slower for you guys. Give it a second here. It's loading back up. I think the whole Jasmine Crockett and Colbert thing, I mean, Jasmine's been making a lot of news lately, but then she goes out into the markets. One day she talks like a different person. The other day she talks somebody else. She's a very highly educated person, but she doesn't speak that way, nor does she communicate her values like that. From the Media Research Center, we have Stephen Colbert thinks he's above the law. This is also the same guy who cheered when President Trump was banned from all social media platforms. Remember how they cheered for that? They delisted and depersoned the President of the United States, the leader of the free world. Imagine the kind of implications that had for fledgling democracies in Africa and other countries where they want to model themselves after America. And then the person that's leading the free speech, they ban them. Think about that. Let's see what Stephen has to say.
I could have swore late shows were kind of joke shows. And it seems like every time we hear from Colbert, it's some political diatribe. I guess maybe that's why he's lost his job. But what do you think about this whole episode? Is it just the proof in the pudding that what he's doing has got to go?
Well, now the late shows are all therapy sessions with also Kimmel coming out. He's just a walking, talking mop at this point, crying all the time. But Stephen Colbert, as CJ put it, he is so desperate to have his favorite white male candidate to defeat the black female candidate. In this case, it's Jasmine Crockett. Colbert thinks he is above the law. Our left-wing journalists in the media apparently think that if they identify as so-called journalists and walk around with a camera, they can either obstruct prayers at churches, they can obstruct private property, or they can violate FCC law. But these are the same people. Stephen Colbert is the same guy who cheered when President Trump was deplatformed from all social media outlets.
And then they bypassed him in the nuclear chain of command, and they had an absolute overthrow of his administration. But she's not wrong when it comes to the media people are playing games. They always play games. I wonder what their big donors are making them do. So this accusation sets up a classic equal time controversy, but wait until you hear what the candidate who got left out has to say about it. It's going to come from Jasmine Crockett, so I don't know which way this is going to go. But Derek Evans posted, he said, Jasmine Crockett, we received a phone call a little bit earlier today. They explained that they actually told CBS they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Talarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. Let's hear her eloquent argument against this.
They name-checked you. I mean, they said this. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. What do you make of that explanation?
We actually received a phone call, and that was a little bit earlier today. And in that call, they explained that they actually told CBS that they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Talarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. I did not get a request from the Colbert show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great. But we're in the middle of early voting, so I'm kind of focused on being in Texas at this moment. I don't know what to believe, that's for sure. But I got that phone call as I was out talking to voters.
That's it. So there's so many things to talk to you about again. But they called you today, but they decided not to air the interview last night. You've been on Colbert a number of times, as you just said. Did you have any issue?
Okay, where is this Jasmine Crockett all the time? She actually sounded informed and eloquent a little bit. She didn't sound like the hood rat person that she tries to portray herself to get votes. I don't even know why she's trying to skew herself in that direction. Sound educated. Do the things. She is a highly educated person. She's got PA. She's got I think a master's degree. She's educated. Why does she always present herself in the other way? I never get it. You know how politicians pander, and you have Kamala Harris's 20 different, whatever. She speaks 20 different ways depending on what part of the country she's in. Just like most politicians. Hillary Clinton, the same thing. Her dialect in the South, she had her Southern Baptist voice on, and then she would go out to Vegas and have a different one. She'd have a different Northeastern accent when she gets up in Maine or wherever else. It's sad. But Crockett's complaint gives us the smoking gun evidence of what actually happened behind the scenes at CBS. Let's see, from Ian Miles Chong, great guy. Jasmine Crockett is mad as hell at CBS and Stephen Colbert for wanting to air an interview with James Talarico because he was given what she claims amounts to free publicity for his political campaign. Yeah, he was. Let's see.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down, and we will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. All right, so we will read what they say, and then we'll go from there. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they just didn't want to hear it. And this was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them and that there may have been advice to just have me on and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
So I want to say she's like the Waffle House Michelle Obama. You don't know which one you're going to get. But you guys can hear the difference in her voice even from that last clip to this one. She's talking completely different. And then there's other clips where she's even further down the road. But again, she is owed equal time. I mean, she is. I mean, that's the rules. She's owed that. She's not wrong, but we'll see. But the evidence shows CBS pulled the plug. And but here's what the story gets really interesting. Follow the money. From our friends over at townhall.com, Stephen Colbert's lies have boosted James Talarico's campaign, raising more than $2 million over the last 24 hours as early voting for the primaries has begun. Why would Democrats purposely try to sabotage Crockett run for Senate? I wonder. I would want to sabotage it too, because she's an idiot, more than likely. Let's see. Allegedly.
Exercise drama for Democrats with Stephen Colbert in the middle as early voting begins in the high-stakes primary contest for U.S. Senate. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino. Bill Hemmer's off today, and here's to my other Bill. Hello.
You still get a bill today, Dana.
That's right.
Good morning to you. I'm Bill Malugin. Democrats are hoping to flip Texas blue. They've been wanting to do that for a while now. And they're pouring big bucks into this crowded contest to unseat Senator John Cornyn, making this one of the most expensive Senate primary races.
Stephen Colbert claims CBS blocked him from broadcasting an interview with one of those candidates by warning it would trigger the FCC's equal time rule.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
And Mark Meredith is in Washington with more on all of this. And this show's getting more attention now than it ever has before.
Yeah, Dana, it's a shame it's not sweeps right now because you can imagine the ratings that would be coming out of this. Stephen Colbert is a short timer at CBS, but his decision to interview Democratic Senate candidate James Talarico over the network concerns may have a long-term impact on both Texas and this year's midterm races. This all started Monday. Colbert says CBS bosses told him he could not broadcast an interview with Talarico over concerns about the FCC's equal time rule, which requires political candidates get equal time on broadcast TV. Talk shows have been exempted for years. CBS is denying that it ever issued any such orders. Well, Colbert says he's still obliged, taking the interview off TV, posting it online. Well, it went viral, and now he's mocking CBS efforts of damage control.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to tell them how to do their jobs. But since they seem intent on telling me how to do mine, here we go. I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.
This TV drama is boosting Talarico's campaign. It reports raising more than $2 million over the last 24 hours. Timing matters as early voting is underway in Texas.
It's going to take all of us to pull off this feat of winning Texas, but it is doable. I'm seeing it on the ground.
Talarico's main opponent, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, says she's too busy focusing on turnout instead of TV. It's notable she said that on television, but her comments come as vow to spend $30 million to flip the traditionally solid red state blue.
A lot of people are like, there's no way Texas can do this. And I'm here to tell you that even on day one of early voting, we are exploding with participation right now.
Republicans have a primary underway, too. Incumbent Senator John Cornyn is fighting for his political career against two challengers, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Congressman Wesley Hunt. This race is getting a lot of attention among the GOP, but President Trump, who's aware of what's going on, has not made an endorsement in this contest. Dana.
We're paying attention to all of it. Thanks, Mark.
That's going to be a wild primary on the Republican side. But I mean, I wonder why the Democrats are trying to push it the other direction. It's probably because Jasmine has a very bad name ID. I mean, she's got good name ID. People know who she is, but she's got a very bad reputation because she doesn't present herself as the educated person. She tries to go the other direction, which is stupid. That fundraising surge is exactly why critics are now saying this whole thing was orchestrated from the start. It could be. And that's what I was thinking when I was watching these clips. We've got one from Cernovich saying, the truth is funny. Stephen Colbert created this hoax to boost his favored candidate in the Texas primary. Trump didn't have anything to do with this. Colbert didn't want to give equal time to Jasmine Crockett, so he lied, and CNN is helping him. Quite possibly. I know Trump had a couple lawsuits, and he won them over the equal times rule as well, because they were doing everything they can to keep him off television. Let's see what CNN had to say.
Last night, Colbert said he's not mad. He's just disappointed. Here's what he said about his parent company.
I'm just so surprised that this giant global corporation would not stand up to these bullies. Come on, you're Paramount. No, you're more than that. You're Paramount Plus.
And he says at this point, I guess, more like Paramount Minus. So you've got Colbert, who has about 40 shows left before his show is over, calling out the parent company. And the key point there, he says, I'm just disappointed you're not standing up to the bullies. He means the bullies at the Trump FCC that are pushing these equal time rules.
Yeah, I mean, the equal time rules exist for a reason, because when you have television shows and it goes out to 40 million people, yeah, you're going to want to have equal time because that is an entirely huge deal then when that happens. So CNN just fact-checks the entire narrative, and what they found changes everything. We've got a good one from Derek Evans saying CNN says the claim is wrong. The FCC did not ban Stephen Colbert from airing James Talarico's interview. The Trump FCC censored its storyline, just collapsed on live television.
You put Talarico's tweet on screen. He said the FCC banned our Colbert interview, and he's wrong about that. The FCC did not ban the interview, and that's what is actually so interesting about this. It's about the impression, the possibility of interference causing the networks to possibly self-censor. CBS read the proverbial room. They sensed that the FCC might try to aggressively enforce these rules and thus encouraged Colbert to just put it on YouTube and keep it off the public airwaves. And like I said, past chairs of the FCC have not prioritized these rules, but Carr is going to move forward with this. And it reminds me of a term Timothy Snyder has used. He's the author of the book On Tyranny. He talks about this as being an example of obeying in advance. He says most of the power in authoritarianism is given freely by individuals who think ahead to what a repressive government's going to do and then do it themselves. They obey in advance. And that's what many critics say CBS is doing in this instance. It also reminds me of what Don Lemon recently said when he pled not guilty to those charges in Minnesota. He said, the process is the punishment. You know, Lemon's probably going to be found not guilty. He's going to get out free after a jury trial.
No,
but the
not.
process is the punishment.
Chance.
And there's something similar happening here with the FCC.
Yeah, it's not cheap to have to go to court. It's also, to a degree, humiliating as well.
So I'm going to fact check CNN right now. Don Lemon's probably going to go to jail because he sat there and he worked with the terrorist cell to go inside of a church and disrupt their prayer services because they were a church that an ICE agent may or may not have been at. Also, the church was supporting ICE in their operations. So they went in there to disrupt it. And they were laughing at the families when they were getting kicked out of there. But this whole thing is a giant scam. Where was CNN when they were taking Trump off air? Where was CNN when they were sitting there and delisting conservatives from Facebook for the J6 stuff and all these other things that are happening? Where were they when the Next News Network got banned or got demonetized on all platforms? Where were you guys saying that it was unfair to the conservative side? Nobody ever talks about that. They only want to talk about when it's relevant for their people, and they can sit here and try to paint the FCC and the Trump administration and others as the bad people. We have been disenfranchised for a very, very long time, folks, and it's time we get it back. But the real revelation here is how easily the media creates fake controversies to funnel millions of dollars to their preferred candidates. Colbert manufactured a crisis. He did. He blamed Trump and the government, played victim when his own lawyers stopped him, and somehow turned his failure into a $2 million fundraising bonanza for his chosen candidate. No surprise there. And it's not coincidence either. That's coordination. So this entire episode proves what we've been saying. The entertainment industry isn't trying to make you guys laugh. They're trying to pick your representatives. Colbert got caught trying to rig a primary election on national television. No big deal, right? And when he couldn't break federal law, he threw a tantrum, raised millions of dollars for his candidate anyways. The system is rigged, but at least now we can see exactly how they do it. And I think it's all coming to light. But the question is, are you going to let Hollywood choose your senators? And if you want to show your support for real journalism that exposes these schemes, check out the Next News merch shop and sport your gear with pride.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this. Share this now.